Hi, I'm Jeremy Ware. You might remember me as the third brother from 1991's production of The Spirit Tree, or as Judas from 1992's production of Jesus Christ Superstar. Tonight, I'll be your host as we take a journey through 14 and a half commercial-free minutes of Carol and Dirk Damontes' music and ministry. Most people know Carol and Dirk Damonte through their music and musicals, which have touched the lives of thousands. But what goes on behind the public facade? We've gathered stories from backstage and at rehearsals that will shock and amaze you. For 20 years, the Damontes have led the youth of Los Altos United Methodist Church and projected an image of Christianity, compassion, and competence. Some of the Damontes' closest associates and family members agreed to sit for interviews, and what they will reveal will leave you speechless. The Damontes are ministers and teachers of youth, but at their core, they're musicians, like Aerosmith, Crosby, Stills and Nash, or Barney. If television has taught us anything, it has taught us that behind the public persona of all musicians are the twin specters of bizarre behaviors and, yes, addiction. As you will see in these never-before-seen interviews, Dirk was driven by his compulsion for caffeine, and Carol's bizarre consumption of foodstuffs almost tore the family apart. When did you first suspect Dirk had a substance concern?
One of the many times we were at Starbucks, he ordered an Octoventi Ristretto Breve, I think it was, and that's, I knew right away that he had a problem. That's of course, everybody knows that's what killed Hendrix. And yeah, I just started telling him then.
What was the low point of Dirk's addiction?
When we were in Houston, we just couldn't find any supply. It was awful. And we started sharing a cup. And they say not to do it and get diseases and cold or a flu, even worse. But they didn't have a cup exchange program, and we just did it. For 3 days, one little, small, short shot. It was bad. It's pretty much the low point.
Has Dirk's habit affected his work?
Not too much. He hides it pretty well. I guess if you look really carefully when he plays a piano solo, the tempo just goes wild. He starts moving and doing this, and his fingers are flying, and everybody's into that, and they don't really notice. But that's where you can really pick up his habit.
What does the future hold for someone with your problems?
Well, he's going to need some serious rehabilitation. I hate to use the words herbal tea and decaf in the same sentence, but it's going to happen someday, and he's going to have to learn to live with that. Just slow down.
While Dirk struggled with his coffee consumption, Carol was driven to make ever more bizarre food choices. Can you describe some of the things you've seen your mom eat?
Well, once she was given a can of sardines, and she ate it raw. It was pretty gross.
Where did she get a can of sardines?
One of her kids gave it to her, thinking she would eat it responsibly, but no.
What else? Any other kinds of odd items?
Well, also on tour once, she fell asleep with her contacts on, and they started to irritate her eyes, so she just took them off and swallowed them.
Okay, back up just a second. So she took the contact lenses out and just popped them in her mouth and swallowed them?
Yeah.
These kinds of, culinary eccentricities, have these caused any kind of friction with other family members?
Culinary what?
Eccentricities, weird food.
Oh, she eats dog bones and hard dog food, and so our dog is hungry.
So the dog's going hungry because she's eating the dog food.
Yeah.
It sounds like a pretty long list of stuff that she's willing to eat. Is there anything she won't eat?
Well, she's not a big fan of McDonald's. We love it, but she just can't handle it.
That's got to be kind of rough for you.
Well, yeah, because we love McDonald's, and she just won't have it.
Do you ever have to try and sneak out of the house to make her McDonald's run?
Yeah, we've tried, but it just doesn't work out.
As part of their ministry, the Damontes spend a significant portion of time working on educating Methodist youth. Dirk oversees the annual confirmation class, and recently the Damontes led the youth of LAUMC on 2 pilgrimages to England to visit the John Wesley Chapel of London and that Mecca of Methodism, Wesley's birthplace in Epworth. We caught up with a Wesleyan scholar to get his thoughts on the work of the Damontes, and also with a recent traveler on the latest Damonte-led pilgrimage. So are the Damontes on track with what they've been teaching the Methodist youth?
Absolutely. I know this is almost kind of hard to understand, but Dirk runs a really tight ship when it comes to confirmation, especially the trips to England with Starfire Mosaic. It's wonderful experience for the youth. I doubt that there are youth anywhere across the country that know as much about Methodist heritage and its meaning, in particular John Wesley.
John who?
John Wesley, the father of Methodism.
Oh, the Wesley dude.
You know, Epworth is a really special place. Perhaps you can think of Epworth as the birthplace of Methodism because indeed that's where John Wesley was born. The old rectory there was built, I think, in 1709. It was actually built as a replacement to a previous rectory.
If John Wesley had a summer home, it would have looked something like this. They're like, it's not his house. And they took us through this whole thing, and our guide was insane.
You know, probably one of the things that the youth really find exciting at Wesley Chapel is the museum they have there. It has one of the greatest collections of Wesleyana, of historical records, of artwork.
So it was like we traveled to England to see his stuff that wasn't really his stuff. And they're like, well, if John Wesley had eaten carrots, they would have looked like this. And like, it was just really funny.
I think, again, because these youth are so incredibly well trained by Dirk, and you could ask them anything.
Which one was Epworth? Was Epworth? Was Epworth?
I think as they go to Epworth, they actually catch the spirit that John Wesley felt during his ministry, this incredible spirit of ministry to the poor, realizing that we are all one family, that we're an inclusive movement, that we are called to draw everyone into love. You know, and I can just imagine the youth maybe even walking down to the old Anglican church and standing on Samuel Wesley's grave and listening to an inspiring sermon, maybe that Dirk or Carol were giving, and realize, wow, this is where we belong. This is our home.
We ate at the Hard Rock Cafe, though. That was cool.
You know, and then there's that wonderful experience just walking down the street.
I had a cheeseburger.
And going to the old Anglican church where Samuel was the pastor.
I had a really good cheeseburger.
I hear say that Dirk actually stood up on the gravestone and gave this incredible sermon that the kids were in tears and so moved by their connection with the Methodist spirit and their roots.
Yeah, it was a really good burger, though. It was awesome.
Over the years, Dirk and Carol's choral group has put out an astonishing amount of collectible merchandise. Starting with the LP in 1987, the Damonte oeuvre has encompassed CDs, cassettes, t-shirts, jackets, coffee mugs, and stemware. The sheer volume of products has churned out by the Starfire group leads to the obvious question. The Damontes, are they about Christian charity or corporate capitalism? When did you first begin collecting Starfire memorabilia?
Oh, it's not just Starfire. I collect everything that the Damontes have put out. But back in '93, I think is when I first started. It was the Old Turtle t-shirt. And since then, it's pretty much ruined my life.
Really? Ruined your life?
It's not the money that's recoupable through the appreciating value of my collection, but just the sheer volume. I spend 5 or 6 days a week collecting, categorizing. eBay has been a huge help, but it's just endless.
I can't believe there's that much stuff. I mean, it's only a church choir.
Oh, you have no idea. T-shirts upon t-shirts. Every year, do a show, make a t-shirt. Then Starfire alone has CDs and cassettes. That's not even to mention Dirk's recordings. We have the old bootleg recordings. My goodness, you don't even want to know how much I paid for the Sunshine Show, 100% Chance of Rain. Oh, goodness, I don't even want to think about it. But then we have the collector's mugs. We have champagne flutes from the '98 auction. Those are actually my prized possessions. And then, of course, the Starfire LP. Extremely rare. I haven't been able to find one.
Oh, let's see. One of these?
Oh my goodness, can I hold it?
No, I don't think so. Where does the money from all this stuff go?
They say it goes to the singers, but Dirk and Carol Damonte are choir directors. Did you see the hot tub they installed about 3 years ago? Yeah, I don't think so. But anyway, back to this. I've saved up. I can buy it from you.
I don't think it's for sale.
Please,
It's
it
really,
would complete.
it's just
I might be able to stop. Please.
The Damontes are known the world over as brilliant composers, lyricists, and musicians. But is that the whole story? We asked a well-known Damonte expert and critic for his opinion. So tell me about the collaboration of Dirk and Carol in putting their shows together.
Well, Dirk and Carol, they work together to write their shows. A lot of people have compared them to, say, Lennon and McCartney. You remember John Lennon was the smart one and Paul was the cute one. And of course with Dirk and Carol, there's Carol, who's the cute and smart one. And Dirk, he does a lot. He works out really the intricacies of the plots more than Carol. He does the work to really shape the shows. And a lot of people have said, well, all these shows are exactly the same. And it's true, there's a lot of recurring themes. You have building community, for example, in a city, building community in a church. We have, of course, building community in a cafe, and building community, finally, in a youth group. It's really amazing to see the transformation of the plot. Well, the building community theme, I would say it's a little like, you have to compare it to a Mondrian painting. People look at a Mondrian painting and they say, all these paintings are the same. It's just lines and blocks of color. And technically, that's actually true. And the same is true with Dirk and Carol shows. Sure, they're about community and they have a lot in common, but there's a lot of nuance and subtlety. For example, the show Song of the Heart. There was a roof in that show. And really that was their only show that had a roof in it. So it's very different and unique from some of the other shows. It was also the first show in which the angry loner character really started to be developed. A fascinating character. It recurred in a lot of their shows, the angry loner, but there was a twist. It was an angry loner with a heart of gold, longing to be part of community. We have, of course, the other archetypes. There's the smart aleck character, but the smart aleck with a heart of gold. And, of course, the popular guy, but popular guy with a heart of gold. Cheerleader girl, cool yet sensitive girl who understands the meaning of community and longs to bring others into community. We have scary guy with a heart of gold. And you can't forget poor person with a heart of gold. Sometimes homeless person with a heart of gold. All part of community. The other thing that's really noticeable, and I think no one's exactly sure what this is, but over the years, the stage direction has improved dramatically. I mean, early on, it was sort of clunky and a lot of people standing in front of each other, but lately, especially, it's really astounding how marvelous it is, really. It's a treat to watch.
Much of the world knows the Damontes by their music. Their songs have inspired and uplifted countless listeners. Shocked would those listeners be to discover that there is a dark side to the music of Carol and Dirk Damonte.
I was so excited to come to LAUMC and work with Carol and Dirk. Of course, I'd met them before. I'd even taken a class with Dirk, and I'd heard so much about them and their music.
When did you first suspect things were not as they seemed?
Well, it's a little bit odd. When I came to the church, I was told that I needed to listen to all their music. And in fact, I was told I couldn't even preach until I had done that. And so I listened to Let Me Sow Love and Spirit Tree and on to some later ones like Fishtails, and it started to develop into kind of a pattern. I noticed that in every one of these shows there seemed to be one song that didn't reflect the values of Christian community.
And what do you mean by that?
Well, do you know that they have a song about homeless people where they're called street trash? And another one, they have children, those dear, sweet children, singing about war and rumors of war. But it was in watching CJ Cafe and that song, Angry at the World. Well, that clinched it for me. How can two people who show outwardly so much compassion and love, why Carol's even the hug queen, how can they have such a dark side? Professionally, I'm telling you, I think at least one of them is seriously disturbed.
That's a pretty strong statement.
Have you ever tried playing one of their songs backwards? I think most people would be shocked at the hidden messages they would find in some of their music.
Messages hidden in song only to be revealed when played backwards? Could such a thing be true? To find out, Behind the Music engaged a pair of technical experts to look for hidden messages in CJ Cafe's Angry at the World. I think you'll be surprised at what they discovered.
We pulled Angry at the World from the 2000 cast recording of CJ Cafe. First, we reversed the recording, looking for any straightforward backwards masking, but that didn't provide any hidden messages. So we dug deeper, performing a phase reverse on the center channel information of the waveform, and adding a white noise dither. Currently, CJ is running a noise reduction algorithm.
Yeah, it should help a lot. I think we'll find something pretty soon.
Do you think you'll find anything at all?
Nah, I think it's a wild goose chase. There's nothing there.
Wait a sec. I'm hearing something. You hear it?
Yeah. Wait, adjust the gain, and then play it back.
You hear it? Yeah, I heard it.
Not since the opening of Al Capone's vault have I been part of something so compelling and exciting. What are we about to hear? Will this be the musical equivalent of an empty glass bottle in an old newspaper, or will it be something more?
Here it is.
That's it.
I can't believe it.
Who would do something like this?
Who indeed? Well, the answer is clear. Carol and Dirk Damontes have spent the last 20 years secretly encoding a message of Happy Christmas into their songs in a blatant effort to subliminally manipulate their audience into believing that it is indeed a happy Christmas. So what will the next 20 years bring for the Damontes? No doubt they will continue to exert their influence over large numbers of youth and adults, spreading a Christian message of, well, Happy Christmas. For the rest of us, we can only hope that the Damontes will continue to spread their message and that the world will continue to hear that message anew. For Behind the Music, I'm Jeremy Ware. Thanks for tuning in.